Hey, my name's James Nicholson. Welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I want to talk about the startling increase in complaints to local councils about mould. You see, there's a new law that's been out fairly recently called Awaab's law. And this law is about the unfortunate story of a young child that died in social care, and new laws that came out off the back of that, meaning that people have to deal with mould in a very timely manner. In fact, you've got to deal with it in a few weeks. You can't leave it for a prolonged period of time. But what's interesting is, since this is now active and it's being enforced on councils and social housing providers and all landlords eventually, this is something that's interesting, that the councils are actually the worst landlords in the country. So we're going to talk about all of that and more, and who is the worst offending councils. I've got the top 5 baddies in this one. Now, before we jump into this, if you're new around here and you haven't done before, do subscribe to the channel over there and hit that bell notification. We've got all the latest property news, interest rate news, house price news, property investing tips, and much, much more. And let's get some views on this video. Your part in that is simple. All you need to do is smash like, tickle like, do something to that like button. That really helps with the YouTube algorithm, and that really has helped the channel grow. So thanks to everyone that does that. So it's interesting. I do a lot of content about the new rules that are pushing landlords out. And in fact, there's around 50% of landlords that are looking to leave the market right now. And every time I do content like that, the comments are littered with tenants saying, good, get rid of all landlords. They're disgusting people. We don't want them. It's unfair. But what would replace them is your councils and your social housing providers. And it's obvious, if you know someone that's in a council or a social housing provider, that they provide a much worse service than a small landlord can basically do. Because if you're a small landlord and you don't follow the rules, you can get massive fines. In fact, the first time that you create a problem, you'll get fined £10,000. In the future, if you cause more offences or a major breach, you could be fined £40,000, which doesn't happen to the councils. And also, landlords are easier to get hold of. So, for example, I was out with Emily this weekend at a Christmas fair. One of my tenants said, help, I've got no electricity. There was a problem. She had one of those key fob meters. There was a problem with that. She didn't know what to do. And so we helped her get all the contact numbers and get someone out to resolve that from Octopus Energy. And we dealt with that very quickly on the weekend. If you dealt with a council in that scenario, you'd be waiting till Monday or Tuesday to get any kind of response, and you'd have to call up, sit on a switchboard. All of these things aren't really great as a service, and social housing providers aren't really much different. And so Awaab's law is there to make sure things do get resolved. And the key thing that this law covers is things like damp, mould, and anything that's unsafe as well. So that could be like electrics or something like that. And so the law basically holds people to account. It gets them to deal with that quicker, but they're not dealing with that quicker. In fact, since 2020, one of these councils has had an increase of complaints, 1,340%. 1,340% increase, which is crazy. So who is the worst offenders? Well, on average, councils, this is crazy, the complaints average is now up since 2020, 560%. 560%. We looked at some content early this summer where Manchester Council, someone was talking about their properties, and only about 50% of them were in good working order. 50%. That is horrendous. Landlords wouldn't be allowed to have that kind of problems. There'd be fines all over the place. They would lose licenses. They would lose properties over that. But councils seem to still get away with it. So where's the worst areas? Well, the worst is Cardiff. So since 2020, they have had a huge increase of cases. In fact, for damp and mould and unsafe properties, they've had 2,298 cases. That's a lot. Like, that is a real problem that they've got to get sorted there. And that's a lot of people that are living in substandard accommodation. Now, this doesn't say whether that's actually got resolved. It's just the people that have reported it. They might still be waiting, hundreds of them or thousands of them, to get these things resolved. Manchester's bad as well. It's just the second worst council area that we're going to talk about here. So in Manchester, it's 2,092 people that have got properties that are unsafe, mouldy or damp. That's a huge amount of people, like that. I just can't fathom how it's this high. Leicester is also horrendous. What frustrates me here on this stuff is that when you look at councils that will be fining landlords, I guarantee you these councils will be fining landlords when their own house isn't in order, and no one will be fining them, which is ridiculous. So Leicester Council has 1,648 places that have problems. That's an increase of 1,340. That's the biggest increase in the country. So it's not the top with cases, but it's the biggest increase with properties that have problems. And London, Westminster is also terrible. And so in London, there are 1,615 properties that have issues that need to get resolved. This is crazy. And this is the real double standard that you see in property. You get the housing associations, you get the big corporations, you get the councils, and there's different rules for them than there is for the small landlords. The Renters' Rights Act is all about bashing landlords and getting them out. But what this shows is that, look, if you get more landlords gone, you're going to have more landlords like this that have problems, that don't resolve them, and tenants ultimately have a bad experience. One thing that I have friends that have lived in council houses in Dorking, I don't know if this is everywhere, you can tell me if this is everywhere, but when they moved out of their property, they have to take the carpets out. So the new person coming in would have to buy new carpets, but often they're on the dole or don't have money and they can't afford new carpets. So a lot of people just go without. I don't understand why you have to take out the old carpet each tenancy changeover. Let me know in the comments if that happens in your area, and let me know why do you have to do that? Doesn't make sense. If the carpet's in a good condition, why do you need to take it out? Seems very wasteful in my opinion. If you rent my property and you look after the carpet, the next tenant gets the same carpet. If it's ruined, then we change it. But if it's in perfect working order, which often it is, then why would we change it? What a waste of money. Not great for the environment. Not great for the new tenant either, because the council doesn't put a carpet in. Let me know what you think about that one in the comments below. What do you think about these rules? The rules for the councils are very different than for us. I think it's very unfair. Do make sure you like this video, comment on the video, and check out all the other content as well on the channel, including this video right here.